Hi everyone, welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. Let's see, I got here at 12:38 today. I'm working on it, guys. Trying to do a little better. Trying to like switch things around so I can be here earlier and give the messages earlier to you. So be patient with me. There's going to be a lot of changes taking place in the near future, good ones, you know. And as they unfold, I will share them little by little. But thank you guys for being here, showing up. If you're not here right now, whenever you have time to watch these videos, please do so, guys. Uh, it's weird because my neck looks weird here, but off camera it doesn't. Anyway, I'm worried about the wrong things right now. But anyway, thank you for being here, and whenever you can watch these videos, watch them and share them with other people, because the more people who hear these videos, the more that some of these videos will resonate with other folks. And because people are going through a lot right now, and as I always say in my videos, some people will share, communicate, vent about what they're going through, and others won't share anything. But those who don't share or communicate, they specifically, I mean, everybody who needs to hear a message, uplifting one, should be here. But those who don't communicate what they're going through, because they can hear something, and perhaps what I share about my own experiences of what I've gone through might help them with their own personal situation, because something might click, something might resonate. So continue to show up, because every day it's a different video, a different topic, but it all ties into healing and growth. So with that being said, guys, I'm not a therapist, as you know, or a social worker or a counselor, just someone who speaks about oh my goodness, the trials, the challenges, and boom, boom, And today, this morning was one of them. And this is why I'm kind of happy I got that problem resolved, so that I can show up here now. Because if I had to stay at the shop, something with my car, which was irritating, but it got taken care of sooner than later. And so I'm here. Seemed like, like one thing gets resolved and here comes something else. And, it's just like, I feel like at times I'm jumping all around. But I'm getting things done so that I can get all these things off my plate and have more time. That's the key factor, is one of the things right now is my time, and I'm trying to free it up as much as possible. So be patient with me, guys, as I do so. So with that being said, let's get into this topic of discussion today. The topic is never break your vows to God. This is a different one today, so this topic may not resonate with everyone. But for those who made vows to God, make sure before you make any vows that you can keep them. And I was very conscious of that. I made sure that the vows I made to God are vows that I can keep. I would never want to make a vow and I can't keep it. So things that I can do. And I did that after, I was at such a low point in my life with all the problems and hate and stuff coming from different directions without a justifiable cause, and just going through a lot more than what one person should be going through. And then when I asked God to help me, and I really was like down, guys, really down. So I know what that feels like. And I didn't have someone I could pick up the phone and say, hey, even somebody to listen to. That's when I decided to do therapy. And as I did therapy, right away, guys, I didn't talk to the therapist. We did Zoom service. because like I said, I am not back then. How do I say this? Today I am not who I was back then, if that makes sense. Because as I heal, grew, and evolved, I transformed. So when we had our Zoom services, I would just stare at him for a little while. Yeah, I'm here, blah, blah. And then look at the time when the session was over. Okay, see you next week. And I did that for a while. But he was patient with me as we went through all of that. And, it just finally I started to open up and talk. And then we did that pro and con list. And he didn't give a lot of advice. He just said, set boundaries, Lisa. If this is what's taking place, it's toxic, set boundaries. And I didn't know how to do that, and I had to figure it out. And as we talk about that pro and con list, when I realized I was an overgiver and being subservient, and that when I needed something, and I'm not talking about financial help, I'm talking about just, you pick up the phone, you talk to someone and say, hey, can you talk for a minute? And even though they can't help you resolve your issue, whatever that might be, they can listen, be that listening ear, be that encouragement to you, to lift you up in your down times. And they couldn't do that. So nobody was bringing anything beneficial to my plate except for toxicity. And I didn't realize that until I did the pro and con list. I'm overgiving. I'm giving too much. Being on the phone with people at 11 o'clock at night when I know I get up at 4 to go to work, to listen to some BS, to comfort them. But when I needed comforting, no one was there for me. So as I did the work to heal, and reached out to God, asking him to help me, and I noticed as I started to do better, God started to be behind the scenes, taking steps on my behalf. And I know because these things don't happen, miracles and things. And I said to myself, if God loved me this much, that I'm still here, and he's blessing me with certain things in my life as I do the work. And I was half stepping then, not doing what I'm doing today. And he really put a mirror up to my face, guys. And I'm talking to, whoever this may resonate with. A mirror that I didn't like. A painful one. An elephant in a room that was this huge. And I was walking around it, crawling under it, whatever, pretending it wasn't there. But I couldn't unsee the pro and con list. I couldn't unsee what I was given and bringing to the table, and people were there to take with their hands out, whatever it was. Energy, time, even money sometimes. But when it was my turn, there was nobody around. They were too busy or whatever, or just quiet. The sound of silence. And when my mom died is when I woke up. Because my father had died a while back. But when my mom died, that's when I really woke up and saw who was there. People, strangers. Well, they wasn't really strangers. Let me backtrack some. I used to volunteer at the soup kitchen. And the people from that church came, and they brought, it was during the shutdown, they brought food, guys. They brought sympathy cards. Tears well up as I talk about this because I had no one. I was balled up in a corner crying my eyes out. My mom, and it was just really bad for a long time. And they came, they brought food, they brought flowers, they brought, what else did they bring? They brought food, flowers, and sympathy cards. And then they said a prayer for me. And this is in the middle of a shutdown, right? But they didn't come inside. We were on the porch. And I appreciated, these people didn't know how much that meant to me. Because I have a family who don't care if I'm here or not. I mean, the very toxic, I don't even want to get into it. And so I had to not just set boundaries there, but cut folks off because they were doing too much when it came to me. And God put up that mirror so I could see things as they are and not how I wanted it to be. We could put up a mirage of something and say, hey, yeah, this is cool. like that song. You remember the song? I think it's from the 80s. It's just an illusion. We could pretend and walk around and, you know, but when someone puts a mirror up to your face, as God did me, and you see stuff that you don't like, you have to work to heal that, change that. And I did the work. And it wasn't easy, guys. And I always talk about it because none of this is easy, and nothing ventured is nothing gained. And my self esteem, I didn't have one. Forget about being in the ground. I just didn't have one. And people would just, oh, she's easy. You can get this from her. You can do that and twist it around like that. And I'm not the same person, because today I will tell you how I feel. And in a respectful way, maybe in a comical way. But I'm serious about it. And the old version of myself, excuse me, I'm getting allergies from all this pollen and stuff. But the old version of myself would never have been able to do that, but God set me down. I had to see the mirror. I had to see what was truly going on. And during my darkest moment, when I really, really needed someone to be there, nobody was there. No one had my back. But God, and I worked hard, because if God think that I'm worth it, I had to build up my self-esteem and think that I'm worth it as well. And it took a long time, guys, because 2020, we're in 2026. It took 5 years for me to get to the point just to tell people no. Just to say that simple word, no. Sorry, can't help you. Today, if it's going to infringe on my time and what I need to do, if it's something that I can spare the time, I might do it. But if it's a continuing situation, sorry, can't help you. Gotta go. Click. I don't have time to deal with people who don't put back in the plate. They're just there with their hands out to take. I don't have the words for it. I set strong boundaries. If they hop and skip over those boundaries, I just cut off, block, and delete. There are no words for that, because we're adults. And when you speak to people and tell them how you feel about something, and they keep doing things left, then you leave them over there. That's how I feel about it, because I have no time for drama, toxicity. Because why would I build myself up and heal from all those things so that these broken people who refuse to do the work can come back in and then reverse all the work I've done on myself? I'm not letting it happen. And I just, and saying no for me is a big thing, guys. Because even back then, before I did the work to heal, I had a hard time saying no. And, I had mood swings because of it. Because I'm doing things that I really don't have time to do back then, that I didn't want to do, but I was afraid to say no. Because how would that person react, whether it's family, friends, even a job? She said no. Today, I'll tell people, look, I have this amount of time to give to you, but I'm busy. And sorry, can't help you. And I don't have a problem with that today, but I had to work hard to get to this point, from A to B to C to D. And it wasn't easy. And as you do the work, guys, little by little, like I say all the time, nothing ventured is nothing gained. As you do the work, little by little, you're going to start to notice the difference in yourself. You're going to start to feel better. You feel better, you do better. You do better, you start to self-care. Oh, let me go to the doctor. Oh, let me go to the gym. Let me make sure I'm, not overweight, losing weight. Let me take care of myself. You're looking at yourself more to take care of yourself so that you can be in good health. Body, mind, soul, and spirit, And I wasn't doing it like I am today, And forget about what the haters are saying. There's always going to be haters, guys. If not, there's a problem. There's always going to be haters saying things, doing stuff, talking. That's a distraction, especially when you're on your path, your journey to heal. And let me tell you, and I'm talking about all this because as God lifted me up and made miracles and blessings in my life, I wanted to give back. And that's why I made vows. And I made a few vows. One of my vows was to show up on this channel to give back, to help somebody else. Because there are people who might be like me in a situation where they don't have anyone to talk to. No one, maybe they don't have family that they're in contact with, or whatever the case may be. And they can easily get into a space of despair. And listening to these videos, letting you know that if I can get out of that place of real deep depression and despair, when my mother died, my dog, a lot of friends and people I know died during 2020 and 2021. And if I can get to the point where I can get out of that place of real deep depression and despair, and God brought me out of it, He can do the same for you as well. Letting people know that there is another way. There is a solution. Never figure out or think there isn't a solution, because there is. You don't have to be in a place of despair. You don't have to be there. And if you are, you can build yourself up and heal yourself and get out of it. But I couldn't do it without God, guys. And as God helped me, I gave back. Like, this is one thing that I do. There's other vows, but I made sure there were vows that I could keep, And one thing, like the title of this discussion is never break your vows to God. That's one thing I won't do. I have people who are trying to distract me, blah, blah, etc. And I learn through discipline, perseverance, resilience, as I continue to move forward, to shut out that noise. Because at first it was irritating a lot, guys, to the point where, so I just, unless they're up in here, in my face, then, jail, restraining order, whatever is necessary. But the talk, the lies, the maliciousness, I just give that to God. Because let me tell you something about God, what I've noticed. No matter how angry we get and we want to go and, get our revenge or whatever it is, God can do it so much better. And I've seen Him do that. And sometimes it's comical to me, because it's like when God gets in the middle of something, it's like, wow, it's a shutdown. And I've seen it over and over, whether people believe that or not. I'm just saying what I see. So I give my silence to something that's no longer for my highest good, that's going to affect my mental and physical health. When people want to come back, or I can bring out the old Lisa, that Lisa is gone. She don't exist anymore, because I've healed and healed from the inside out, guys. And it wasn't easy. Like I said, addressing all parts of the elephant in the room, and then some. And so I have worked very hard, and I'm very disciplined, and I'm very resilient, and I will persevere. One thing that I do, and if someone keeps doing certain things, I will be in prayer, fasting 2-3 days with God. And after I come out of that fasting, I'm more powerful and feel more powerful than ever. Because the connection I have now, I know God is there for me. And if God is for you, then who can be against you? And it doesn't matter what they're talking about, how they twisting it around or whatever. I don't have any time for that. And I'm here on this channel, to uplift people. Because like everyone who's listening to this video, this world is spinning on misery. Miserable people and miserable jobs, miserable relationships, don't know what love really is, but just hanging on by a thread just to hang on to stuff. And it reminds me of the old version of myself before I started to heal. Relationship to me means a partner that enhances my life. One that walks beside me, not behind me or me behind them, or etc. And one that builds me up. We build each other up. We give something positive. Everyone, we all have our days of whatever, but we give positivity to it. Not because the way I see it, when I see the clarity in this is that nobody has to stay with people. You know, if someone decides I don't want to deal with this anymore, they have a right to walk away from it. What no longer serves their highest good, you know? And so I see things differently. I see the clarity in things. And everything that I've went through that could have made me bitter and hate everything in this world, guys, I looked at it with a different, like from a different perspective. That these things in my life that kept repeating itself and getting worse and worse were lessons, because unlearned lessons. So when they are unlearned, they come back with full speed over and over again until we learn it. And then we see the clarity in what we are doing or not doing, then we can correct that. And as we make the correction, then the cycle closes out, the door gets padlocked, and we move over here to new beginnings. And this is another reason I made vows. And as I keep those vows to God, you know, I stay in prayer. I'm not religious, guys, but I do have a connection to God. You know, I had someone in a supermarket tell me otherwise the other day, and I just looked at her like she lost her mind. I don't know this woman from a hole in a wall. But I just looked at her and just shook my head. Okay, no words, Lisa. Let's just finish your shopping, get out of here, and continue to move forward. Never allow people's words, you know, to make you feel any kind of way. You know, let people think whatever they want. You know, just keep living your life, your best life. And one of the things how you win with these type of situations is that you learn the lessons, you close out the cycles so that you don't have to repeat them anymore, and you walk over here to your new beginnings, make goals for yourself, follow through, and live your best life. And as you succeed, you're crawling out of that barrel that the haters are trying to keep you in, trying to draw you down. Don't let anyone do that to you. And as you leave all of that behind, and you do you and take care of you, this is how you win. This is how you don't stay in a place of bitterness. And because, like I said, someone who created trauma or negativity in your life, if you're in a place of bitterness, guess what? They took your power with them when they left. And then they're sharing that with somebody else while you're stuck and stagnated in the hate, not the hate, the bitterness and the pain and anger and all of that stuff. Heal that stuff. And as you heal it, you grow, heal, and evolve, and you become the best version of yourself, and you win. And you let them be. Give that situation to God, and believe me, He will take care of it. And, you know, when it comes to vows and things, I just don't let people tell me, oh, God told me to tell you this and that. Yeah, I had a woman tell me that, and I looked at her and just kept going. And you have a good day. Just let it go in one ear, go out of the other ear. Because as you grow, heal, and evolve, you will see the changes within your own life. You will see God helping you through situations that you know couldn't have happened, but because of Him. And I'm talking from personal experiences. So I learned to tune out the noise, shut it off, and continue to stay focused on my healing growth and helping others too. Because when you see from a different point of view how to solve your issues, you feel better, you do better, guys. Don't allow yourself to succumb to anybody's else opinion of you. And if you made vows to God, keep those vows. Don't ever break them. And make sure it's something that you can do and follow through. And you don't have to share with others unless you want. If people don't understand, it's not for them to understand. Everything is not about other folks. You know, cherish that relationship you have with God, build it up, and continue to, you know, carry out those vows and help others. Because as you help others, you are also helping yourself. That's the message today, guys. Thank you for being here. I hope someone is being uplifted by these messages, and continue to show up here Monday through Friday. Subscribe to the channel, comment, make sure they're respectable comments, and like this video. Thank you, guys, and I'll see you sometime tomorrow. Bye for now, guys.